Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV again today. And wake up the kids and smack your mama and have her go down to the kitchen and whip up a batch of pancakes that are absolutely delicious so that we can celebrate in this moment, albeit it might just be a fleeting moment, as Kofi Kingston earns himself a shot at the new Daniel Bryan and the Eco Championship at the upcoming Fastlane pay-per-view on tonight's episode of Smackdown Live, and we are going to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Smackdown Live review and reaction show right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you to the fans of the city of New Orleans for showing the entire world on television and for showing the people of Lafayette, Louisiana, how you are supposed to react when attending a professional wrestling show. This is in effect the type of feeling they were looking to generate out of Monday Night Raw last night, but you could have literally had the Lord himself, whichever version of the Lord you believe in, could have showed up at the Cajun Dome last night, and I think everybody would have still been half asleep and in whatever coma, whatever gumbo-induced coma that they all showed up in at last night's Monday Night Raw. But tonight was a completely different story. Funny to me that I had mentioned in the Raw review that New Orleans, I don't understand how the difference in fans is so great and how far apart in logistic miles these two cities can be from each other, because they are infinitely miles apart when it comes to the manner of wrestling fan decides to come see a WWE wrestling show. Tonight's Smackdown Live, while it was infinitely more enjoyable as we have become accustomed to, had a few errors of their own. And yes, this is what's going to happen when you want to play copycat to Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw had the four biggest names in NXT show up and absolutely fall flat during the Elimination Chamber Fallout show for the Red Brand. This would not so much be the case here tonight, as we had the same exact four guys show up as they showed up last night and give us a couple of more very good matches to enjoy. And I'm appreciative of all that, but once again, going into the confusion of all of this, why these four guys are the target of this sudden push? Why not have four other guys show up on SmackDown Live? Why not the Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole and the Undisputed show up on SmackDown Live to make things a little different? Shane McMahon wants to be all jealous of Triple H. His brother-in-law's got NXT over there. Let's have NXT over here. Why didn't you do something a little bit different with it? Because I don't understand what the parameters of this sudden call-up is. Is it an NXT takeover? Are we seeing an NXT invasion? Or is this just them whetting our appetite for guys like Aleister Black and Ricochet and the eventual coming of Ciampa and Gargano? Are they just testing the waters? Are these guys going to continually show up on all the brands every single week? I don't understand why we are even doing this. And when, once again, in the case of Ricochet on this night, there was a very huge problem I had with the booking of Ricochet on SmackDown Live. You could literally have given him anybody else. I mean, literally anybody other than somebody from Sanity tonight, and that match would have been off the charts. Eric Young has no emotional investment with anybody, because the last time we've seen Eric Young on a SmackDown Live was back in September. Remember when they actually gave a shit about Sanity? Oh, wait, no, because that's never happened. They never gave a shit about Sanity. Why are we seeing Sanity, a team that's supposed to be part of the tag team division, being showcased in a singles capacity against an upcoming and newly arriving NXT star? You couldn't spell loser more obviously than Eric Young tonight. Why not build some intrigue? Why not do something different? Why not give him a shot at the United States Championship, much like we said about the Intercontinental Championship last night? Instead, you go with this random throwaway match against a guy that the crowd don't even know. They probably know Eric Young even less than they know Ricochet, and they didn't really... They enjoyed the match because the action was decent, so the crowd, being a wrestling crowd, got into the match. But can you imagine how much bigger it would have been had we seen Ricochet versus a Rusev, or Nakamura, or R-Truth, whichever one of the three of them are the United States champion is at the time? I don't even remember, because when was the last time we even seen any one of them? You could have had it be Randy Orton versus Ricochet. We could have seen Jeff Hardy versus Ricochet, Samoa Joe versus Ricochet, any of the combination of the 6 men that took part in a useless 6-man tag tonight. Sure, it was entertaining, the wrestling was great, and Kofi Kingston got over big time once again, but there was really no use for that match. It was unnecessary. It was just following up from the same 6 men that were in the Elimination Chamber. Kind of standard WWE bullshit kind of booking. But if you're trying to do something big and something special and you're going to have these NXT guys show up, why are you not giving them the best of the best to showcase their ability against? You're giving Ricochet Eric Young? I don't understand it. And while I'm not saying it took away from the quality of the match, Eric Young is a great talent. I have nothing against Eric Young. It's just the philosophy behind the booking of it, first of all, gives away the fact that Eric Young is going to lose because they don't give a shit about Sanity, as we stated. And it's just so lazy. So lazy. They couldn't come up with anything good, so they just throw out the first fucking thing that they stuck to the dartboard, apparently. They had everybody's faces on a wall, and they threw the dart, and Eric Young's head got stuck right in the middle. Boom. He's going to go out tonight for the first time in months and just lose to Ricochet, who's making his debut on SmackDown Live. I guess. For now. For tonight. For this week only. For how long? Forever? Like, what is going on? We still don't really understand. That's my main problem with all of this NXT involvement. There is no parameters to being set. There are no rules that we are being made aware of. And we don't know where any of it is going. They did do something right tonight in the case of Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas. Now, you might be thinking, if you watch the Raw review, you might be going, well, what are you talking about? You were all upset that Aleister had a real match with Elias on Monday Night Raw. Well, yeah, because he's never faced Elias before, and Elias is worth about as much as a napkin right now. You can wipe your nose with it and throw it away. It doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't change anything about Monday Night Raw if Elias is removed from the equation. On this night at SmackDown Live, in this instance, he is going up against a longtime rival. Aleister Black and Almas put on some of the greatest matches you will see in NXT. These guys have chemistry out the wazoo. And then you want to add in the little extra alluring factor that Andrade is being managed by the real-life wife of Aleister Black, and if you didn't know, now you know, is probably the most mismatched and odd-paired couple I have ever seen in the history of pro wrestling. The near 7-foot-tall Aleister Black, the guy from Holland, isn't that weird? With tiny little Spanish sex pot, Zelina Vega. I don't get it. You know, again, to each their own. I'm not shitting on it. You know, God bless them. I hope they have a long and happy nuptial marriage of sorts, much like I do. But be that as it may, I had great expectations in this matchup. And mirroring last night's review once again, in the case of the tag team matchup for DIY last night, on this night, this match was just not as big as I thought it was going to be. Black and Almas have put on classics, like I said, 15, 20-minute long matches. And then here on this night, they get a commercial break match. And it wasn't as much as I expected. And maybe that's my fault for placing these expectations upon them, because I'm used to seeing from them what I'm used to seeing from them. So how am I wrong for expecting to see what I'm used to seeing? But this is a toned down version of NXT. This is a very handcuffed version of what we got to see in the Gold brand. They can try to infuse it all they want into the main roster. If they don't allow them to go full throttle, you're not going to get a full-on NXT matchup, and that's not what we're getting. We're getting WWE flavored NXT superstars. And it comes off that way. If you watch NXT as much as some of us do, and in my case as much as I do, you're going to know that. That was not your standard Aleister Black and Almas match. Was it a good match? Absolutely. Was it as good as it should have been? No way. Was it given enough time? Absolutely not. Should have been made bigger, should have been made better and grander. They should have played into the history between the two guys more, and it would have made the fans understand, oh well, these guys have battled 3-4 times already on grand stages like NXT takeovers and whatnot. This is going to be a pretty damn good match. And they already knew that in New Orleans. They were on fire during this matchup. We had chants of NXT going on because these people were aware. And I guess these people are smart enough to get the WWE network and appreciate the good things that the WWE actually puts on this planet, like the stuff that we see in NXT. My real biggest complaint on this night, and I'm sure all of you thought about me immediately, when Asuka came out from obscurity, we actually found Asuka. She's alive. Imagine that. After tapping out the man Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble, we have not seen nor hide nor hair, no color you want to pick, whether it's neon green or pink or blue or purple. We haven't seen any of them floating around in the atmosphere even of a SmackDown Live. Even coming around the Elimination Chamber, there was just nothing going on with Asuka. She has been missing in action for weeks, and she is the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. And what did we get tonight? We got an impromptu matchup, pretty much an open challenge, not for the championship, although that's not really what I think was supposed to go down. I mean, maybe it's a language barrier thing. Asuka just wanted to know who was ready for Asuka. She's like, right now. I don't know if she meant like now, or now as in like we got a pay-per-view coming and I need an opponent. But that being said, Mandy Rose, of all people, answers this thing. And I know you guys know where I'm going to go with this. This girl coming out here tonight is not my problem. It's fine that they put her out there. Obviously, she's in the midst of a major push. Vince McMahon's got his balls in a tickle for Mandy Rose. Corey Graves is nauseating on commentary with the Mandy Rose thing. And it's not my cup of tea. It's the new version of Eva Marie, and it's fine. At least in this case, the girl has some capabilities of wrestling. I just do not understand having her beat Asuka, especially in the manner she did. She pinned Asuka's shoulders to the mat. I don't care if she played shenanigans and pretended that her eye got all fucked up and then caused some sort of distraction, and then Lacey Evans decided to do her little bam 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 a catwalk and distract Asuka. Like, why would that be distracting to Asuka? Once again, just like when James Ellsworth came out dressed like Asuka, like, why are you even paying attention to anything going on outside the ring when you are the champion and you are in a match for, you know, for whatever reason, for a title, for whatever? You don't want to lose your match. Why are you paying attention to what's going on outside? Why is Lacey Evans such a distraction to Asuka? What is going on? And then Mandy Rose with the most junk-ass bullshit roll-up I have seen anybody execute pins the champion. The new SmackDown Live Women's Champion, who just tapped out Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble. She's losing to Mandy Rose on SmackDown Live, and I'm supposed to be okay with this? You have a whole locker room of girls back there, and you didn't even take 2 minutes to have any of them try to pump up the women's tag team division. This is what I was afraid of. The tag team championships reside on two girls that are Monday Night Raw superstars, and so we don't have to care about the tag team division on SmackDown Live. Why didn't we have the Iconics out there talking shit? Why didn't you have Naomi or Carmella out there talking about, you know, we lost the chamber, but we still want those titles? and we're going to come after them. We're going to earn our shot at them or whatever. Make up some new team. Do something. Have one of these girls be the one to challenge Asuka. It would make more sense. You have Carmella, who's already beaten Asuka. She could have come out there and stated her claim to the title. You could have had Naomi come out there. She is a former women's champion. She could have wanted another shot at the title. And you could have used all this drama to create some sort of road to WrestleMania for all three girls. Maybe you have a triple threat match between the three of them. Since the other girls are going to have a triple threat match, maybe you have two of them. Who cares? Maybe you have Asuka go one-on-one with somebody. Who knows? But it would have been much more interesting than Mandy Rose. If this is the road to WrestleMania and we are going to see Mandy Rose versus Asuka at WrestleMania, how is that possibly a star caliber match? It's absolutely unworthy for her. Unworthy for us. Why would we have to be subjected to something like that? I don't understand it. It was my biggest problem with this night as a whole. My favorite part of the night is the fact that Kofi Kingston is going to get a shot at the WWE Championship coming up at Fastlane is where my problem lies with it. Now, there's two things they can do. They can have this match at Fastlane. They're going to have Daniel Bryan probably retain the championship for multiple reasons, being that we're only going to be 4 weeks out from WrestleMania. And they're going to either just make this go away, which is what I expect them to do. They're going to give Kofi his chance. Kofi's going to fail, and then they're going to set up Daniel Bryan's real match at WrestleMania, giving them only 4 weeks to do it against the likes of probably an AJ Styles or a Randy Orton or a multitude of challengers, maybe a 6-man ladder match, since nothing like that's being spouted out on the horizon just yet for anything else. Maybe that's the plan for the WWE Championship, and all these men who are also in the chamber will have an opportunity, also including Kofi Kingston in the process. That's possibly what they could be doing on the horizon. But if they wanted to really do something cool and do something fun, they would have Kofi Kingston, yes, lose to Daniel Bryan at the upcoming Fastlane matchup, but have him lose or win via disqualification. You have Rowan get involved. You have the referee call the match. Then maybe the New Day comes out. You have Big E get in the face of Rowan. And then you can have a whole multitude of ways you can come out of this thing, leading towards a final matchup between the two of them at WrestleMania, where you can have Kofi Kingston win the WWE Championship. I don't understand this mixed bag of reactions from all these fans that I've been seeing on social media for the last couple of days, or couple of weeks rather, since Kofi Kingston's become the Seth Rollins of SmackDown Live. And in fact, if you want to be more respectful, Kofi Kingston was Seth Rollins before there was a Seth Rollins, and the WWE just didn't know what they had back in 2008. And how can you actually sit there, no matter who you are, and look at a guy like Kofi Kingston that has put in over 10 years of service to this company and has never truly had a moment of greatness. A guy that was languishing in mediocrity, who was just stuck in mid-card hell until he was hooked up with his two best buddies and then took the New Day and took himself and two other guys with him to a whole nother level. Now, I'm the first guy to sit here and tell you I can't stand the pancakes and everything at this point because it's just become over-bloated and overdone. But right on the beginning of this thing, I was all aboard with the New Day, as the shirt proves. And I have the Booty-O shirt as well to go along with it, which we will probably be wearing on next week's show, just to continue our support of Kofi Kingston. I don't understand how you could not want to see that. How can you feel Kofi Kingston don't deserve it? I see people saying, oh, well, they didn't give it to him back in the day, so they're not going to definitely do it. Now, why is that such an underlying fact? Why is that what you're choosing to hang your hat on? Well, they didn't do it before, they're not going to do it now. Why would you not want to see that? It would be a magical WrestleMania moment. If I'm not mistaken, they would make him the first African-American male to win the heavyweight championship at a WrestleMania event, maybe not including The Rock. I'm not remembering if The Rock's ever won at WrestleMania. My mind is telling me he's never won a championship at WrestleMania until he came back and did his whole bullshit with John Cena and everything. But I just think it would be a fantastic wrestling story. You look at the momentum the guy has generated over the last couple of weeks, and yeah, this wasn't planned, and you can't give them any credit for it, but that's always sometimes when you get the most special moments. Just like Daniel Bryan, just like Becky Lynch, those guys were not in the cards. Kofi Kingston, thanks to the unfortunate situation with Mustafa Ali, has found himself in a position where Kofi Mania is starting to creep into the consciousness of the WWE Universe, and it's become a loud outcry in the last 24 to 48 hours. Why wouldn't you want to acknowledge that? Why wouldn't you want to give this guy a moment and use this match that you so quickly announced for Fastlane, since it's only going to be 2 weeks away, with no real care or no real thought behind it other than the fact that Kofi Kingston pinned the champion once again in tonight's 6-man tag? Why wouldn't you go down that route and extend it and keep it going? It's a hot topic right now, so you don't want to go and just extinguish this flame that you accidentally ignited so quickly at Fastlane. You have to extend it. And why wouldn't anybody be proud to see a guy like Kofi Kingston finally be rewarded and have his shot at the WWE Championship in one of the main events of WrestleMania? Since there is no real true main event of WrestleMania anymore, there's always like 3 or 4 main events every single year. The match that closes the show is whatever Vince chooses. That doesn't make it the main event. There are multiple main events, and I think that is one of them. And if you don't feel comfortable making Kofi Kingston the sole challenger for the WWE Championship, which based off of the recent history, I don't know why you would even think that way at all. If you're not comfortable with that, then you add everybody else back into this match. You put AJ Styles in there, you put Randy Orton in there, you have a fatal 4-way. Or you put in the ladder like I suggested, you hang the title above the ring, and you have the WWE Championship decided in a 6-man ladder match at WrestleMania for the first time ever, since you like to say first time evers all the time. There are a million ways you could go about this. And then if you have Kofi Kingston win there, it makes it even more special, because it doesn't do any damage to anybody else's ego in the ring. This is a ladder match. There is no true winner or loser. Nobody gets pinned. It's just luck. You have to have perseverance and endurance and survive and have the strength to go up there and rip down the belt. And it doesn't do damage to anybody else that's involved in the match by not winning that match, because there's going to be 5 losers no matter what. It's just a totally different and unique way they could go about booking the WWE Championship for WrestleMania, and having Kofi Kingston involved, I feel like at this point is just a must. It's a must. It absolutely has to happen. Unlike Mr. Must-See, Cole Bestie's bullshit McNugget tag team dumbasses in the world, Shane McMahon and The Miz, who started off tonight's show. I know we're going a little bit backwards here, but that's how much I really could care less about it. I was hoping that this was going to be over and done with very, very quickly, but now they're going to get a rematch at the Usos. Apparently, The Miz has set it up. They're getting a rematch at Fastlane. Shane and him will be going up against the Usos, and now, as a little added caveat, George Mizanin, Daddy Miz, is going to be there to watch ringside once again. And why do you give a shit? We all already know what's in store. And the only reason why I'm actually okay with this match happening at Fastlane is because it's going to keep Miz and Shane away from the tag team titles. We are going to see the Miz turn heel on Shane, probably have something to do with George on the outside, going to get involved in some way, play some part in this thing, and turn the Miz back where he belongs on the heel side of things, which is already one positive thing. The other positive thing, like I said, they will be taken out of the tag team division. The Usos will remain the tag team champions of SmackDown Live, and hopefully we will get that unification match that I have been so heavily hyping on this channel between the Usos and the Revival, to have one clear-cut tag team champion among all the brands of the WWE. But that all, my friends, remains to be seen, and the rest of SmackDown Live, I want to say, was just a carbon copy of Monday Night Raw. Gargano and Ciampa went in there against the Bar, which a couple of years ago, if you would have said that statement, I would have been saying that's a dream match. But this suffered again from everything else they did to all of the guys in NXT. Just not enough time. This was a great match. This was an entertaining match. The difference in size between Sheamus and Cesaro and their opponents, Gargano and Ciampa, was staggering. And I was absolutely taken away by it. I never imagined that these guys, Ciampa and Gargano, were that much smaller. Like, when you see them without each other, you know what I mean? You're watching Sheamus and Cesaro do their thing on SmackDown Live, and then you watch NXT on Wednesday, like, you don't realize, because they're not face-to-face, like, and you just assume everybody's always in and around the same size, with the few guys being really big and a few guys being really small. But when you've seen this, at least to me, it definitely took me by surprise. And what didn't take me by surprise was that Gargano and Ciampa were going to defeat the Bar tonight, and I did enjoy the match. It had some pretty decent moments, and these guys, once again, going out there as a DIY, unofficially, and just showing the tag team division how it's done. And I'm sure that the Bar had a great time wrestling with these two guys, and I hope that this kind of stuff, as far as match quality is concerned in the tag team division, is going to become more of the norm than a special attraction, as we've been treated to twice now on this week. And while I don't agree with the booking of the matches as far as time and the amount that they were allowed to do and what they were probably instructed to not do, I did really enjoy Ciampa and Gargano on both shows this week. They were absolutely great. Aleister Black, we talked about, defeated Andrade Cien Almas right in front of his wife, which I'm sure she was secretly proud inside, flipping around like a tamale, I'm sure. What was the other matches tonight? We just talked about Tommaso and Ciampa defeating the Bar. Scroll on down the results here. We talked to Asuka, which totally pissed me off, and we had Mandy Rose defeating the SmackDown Women's Champion Asuka in a non-title match. Fantastic. Thanks, Lacey Evans. Why don't you take your fucking catwalk all the way out of New Orleans and into a river somewhere down there in the bayou? Since you want to do stupid shit like cause Asuka matches. Absolutely ridiculous. We've seen Charlotte Flair discussing Becky Lynch attacking her at the house show and the Elimination Chamber. Flair called Lynch selfish and says if she does it again, she will be arrested and blah, blah, blah. We're playing the Stone Cold game. But I'm interested. I'm hooked. It's the hottest story in all of pro wrestling right now. So let's just continue on the road to WrestleMania and take it for what it's worth and try not to be such an asshole about it. Because you guys, I know what I am. I'm an asshole and I look at things very cynically, and I'm always looking for the point and the reasons and the whys. And that's what I do, like Mark Henry would say. And I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. I'm not just a nitpicker and a nagger and an asshole. I do this because this is how I feel. This is the way I see things, and I want to enlighten you guys as to why some of the stuff that maybe was good in your eyes kind of wasn't. And the WWE, as much as maybe they are trying, they are still pretty much failing with whatever it is they are trying to accomplish here. We had Ricochet defeating Eric Young. That's a key prime example, and I'm not going to go back into my tirade on that. There are so many names he should have went up against before Eric Young even approached the list. And now you want to bring back Sanity. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then we had Kayla Braxton with the New Day backstage. Kofi Kingston was just getting cheered all the way throughout the building. They talked about the 11 years for Kofi Kingston in this industry. They talked about how all the things 11 years ago that were not around, like Instagram and some of the things that we are using on a daily basis today, were not around when Kofi Kingston was in the ring doing his Kofi Kingston thing. And that's kind of like what I was making light of before. This guy was on the money and on point, and one of the best wrestlers that the WWE had under their gun, and they just never pulled the trigger with him. And I don't see why they can't do it now. And I definitely hope that's somewhat in the cards there. And then we had the 6-man tag team matchup. AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, and Kofi Kingston with the New Day at ringside defeats Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton with Rowan, respectively, at ringside, when Kofi Kingston would end up hitting that Trouble in Paradise at a complete thin air. Just pulled it out of nowhere like Randy Orton would drop an RKO. But Kofi Kingston delivered a very sweet Trouble in Paradise across the chin of Daniel Bryan once again, and has pinned for the second time in as many weeks. He has pinned the WWE Champion for the 3, as the New Day would be celebrating in the ring, and Shane McMahon would come out and officially make the announcement amongst thousands of cheering fans in approval that Kofi Kingston will be getting a match at Fastlane. And while I would have rathered him come out and announce that be the SmackDown main event for WrestleMania, they are going in a direction where that might actually still end up being the final result. And I hope that since they've lucked into this, they take advantage of it, because this, if you're listening to the fans and we are the new authority and you're doing what we want, is what I see more than anything that we want. Well, majority of us. There are, for every person I've seen that loves this like I do, there is somebody that absolutely hates the thought of Kofi Kingston at this stage in his career being given this opportunity, and I don't understand why that would be. And there's just so many, man. Too many to even believe. And if you don't believe me, go take a look, because it's all over there. It's trending worldwide right now. SmackDown Live taking over the Twitter feeds as always every single Tuesday, and that's where you could find me. At Nick Nightmare is the handle. You can see it right there down below. If you're not following me on Twitter, you better go and do that, because I am always live tweeting, and I very, very often tweet just some funny random shit, and you guys are missing out on one of the best live feeds, especially for pro wrestling fans, in all of Twitter. And occasionally you get a little insight on my professional wrestling training, as I am still one of the members of the new House of Glory class of 2019 or whatever it is that we are. So for little sneak peeks into that, there's a little extra added motivation for you to go follow me on the tweet machine if you are on there yourself. If not, the best way to follow me is right here on the greatest YouTube channel for professional wrestling fans that there is, which is Sledgehammer TV, home of the flagship show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, and also our new list-related show, or my editorial opinion-related show, Bringing the Hammer Down, where our latest episode focuses in on the 5 most crazy and just absolutely shocking Elimination Chamber matches Elimination Chamber match winners, to be specific, that there has ever been. If you missed that, it'll be linked in the annotations over here. That's going to be it for SmackDown Live. We pretty much touched base on everything about it, and it was a decent show, as SmackDown Live always is, that was stained by the occurrences of Mandy Rose and Eric Young being named Ricochet's opponent, and just a very lazily booked 6-man tag main event, which, well, the action was good. I hate 6-man tags. You have made me, WWE, you have made me hate 6-man tags, and that you have nobody to blame but yourself, WWE, not you guys, because you guys are awesome. My fans, my brothers and sisters of the Sledgehammer family, thank you all for bearing with me this week. I want to apologize once again for the lateness of the Monday Night Raw review. If you were around last night, you've seen that I put out a little post on here telling you guys a little bit about what went on in this studio last night, which absolutely drove me batshit crazy, and I couldn't even focus all day long, because all I wanted to do was re-record that review, and I got it up there for you guys. So if you missed Monday Night Raw review because it wasn't there at its normal time, it is there for you right now. That will be in the annotations up above as well. Thank you all for being patient with me and for sticking with me for the last 3 years. All of you, 1,200 plus in this family, I can't thank you enough for your continued love and support of this channel. And make sure that if you are not part of this family just yet, and you are still here at the 34-minute mark, you hit that subscribe button right now and become one of the best fans in the entire wrestling community that resides here on the internet. We are respectful, we are knowledgeable, and we are a whole lot of fun as we made evident during this SmackDown live review. And if this one wasn't fun enough for you, I beg you to go check out the Monday Night Raw review, because nothing brings out the hammer like the fury of Monday Night Raw. So if you missed it, it's definitely worth checking out. So go do that for me right now. Make sure you are subscribed and notified, and then hit that like button if you enjoyed yourself here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show today, and then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they had a decent time watching SmackDown Live tonight but still have a couple of grievances they need to gripe about. This is the best place to do it. That comment section is waiting for you guys to light it up, as am I, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you guys in that comment box, as I do every single week. As we keep the reviews coming, and you guys keep coming back for more, I will keep making them. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, and the Wrestling God of Thunder, his tag team partner, and the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball, and the most important member of the team, as always. Each and every one of you sledgeheads of the Sledgehammer family, I love each and every one of you, and I hope you have had a great Elimination Chamber weekend. I hope the rest of your week is fucking awesome, and I look forward to seeing you guys as we continue down this road to WrestleMania together as one awesome unit, one awesome family to hammer them all. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here. We are fucking exhausted, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com, and ain't no fucking computer ever gonna take me down. Boom.